All right, and welcome to Algebra 1. This is 5.3, solving multi-step inequalities. Let's get started. Previous objective in 2.3, back in Chapter 2, we solved multi-step equations, and today we are solving linear inequalities involving more than one operation, as well as solving linear inequalities involving the distributive property. Make sure you get today's objective written in your notes. The nice thing is that there's no new vocabulary for today, so let's get started right into the lesson. We are skipping example number 1 and moving right on to example number 2, which is inequality involving a negative coefficient. Again, our same rules are going to apply from 5.2. If we multiply or divide by a negative, we must flip the sign. All right, let's get started. We are just solving equations here, or inequalities here. So 13 minus 11d is greater than or equal to 79. I'm going to treat this just like I would an equation and draw my line down the inequality. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. We are going to combine like terms. So the only option I have to do is to subtract now 13 from both sides. I'm left with negative 11d on this side is greater than or equal to 66. And I'm going to divide by a negative 11 on both sides. When I multiply or divide by a negative, I must flip the sign, and my answer becomes d is less than or equal to negative 6. All right, let's move on. We are already at a checkpoint for example 2, so if you want to pause the video and see if you get the same answer as I do, you are more than welcome to. All right, let's get started. Negative 8y plus 3 is greater than negative 5. I'm going to draw that line. Combine like terms, so I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides. I'm left with negative 8y on this side is greater than negative 8 on this side, and I am going to divide both sides now by negative 8. You got it. We are going to flip the sign. Negative 8, so we have to flip our sign, and negative 8 divided by negative 8 is a positive 1. Hopefully you got the same answer as I did. Let's move on. Example number 3 is writing and solving an inequality. So they want you to look at the sentences or the verbal expressions, define a variable, write an inequality, and solve the problem below, and then solve it for the given inequality. So what we're going to do is take a look at our sentence and break it apart. We have 4 times a number, and because we can pick any variable or define any variable, I'm just going to pick x. Plus 12 is my next part, and then I have is less than symbol, looks like an L sideways. A number minus 3. So any number, same number, minus 3. Now we are going to set this up and solve for the given variable. So I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign, and just like a variable on both sides, it doesn't matter which you move to which side as long as you follow the proper rules and do it correctly. I'm going to start by subtracting an x from both sides. I'm left with 3x on this side plus 12 is less than negative 3. And now I'm going to subtract a 12 from both sides. And I get 3x is less than negative 15. And I'm dividing by a positive 3, so my sign stays the same. Your answer would be x is less than negative 5. All right, if you subtracted the 4x from both sides, just a reminder that if we have negative 5 is greater than x, I always want you to represent the variable first. So you have to flip it around to say x is less than negative 5. This is going to help with our graphing when equations, when we're asked to graph our inequalities on a number line. I always want you to write your answer with the variable first. All right. So let's try another one. We have 5 minus 6 times a number. 5 minus 6 times a number is more than, is my inequality symbol, 4 times the number plus 45. All right, so I'm going to draw my line. All right, let's see. I'm going to add 6x to both sides just to get rid of that negative. I'm left with 5 on this side is greater than 10x plus 45. And now I need to get the 45 to the other side. I have negative 40 is greater than 10x. And now my last step is to divide both sides by 10. Because I divided both sides by 10, my sign stays the same, and I'm left with negative 4 is greater than x. But just like I mentioned previously, we always want the answer written with the variable first. So we need to flip everything around. X is less than negative 4. All right. Hopefully you got the same answer as I did. We are already to the multiple choice question. So take a look. 6 times the number is greater than 4 times the number minus 2. Which one is written properly and which one is solved properly? So A, B, C, or D, answer on the Google form. Let's move on to example number 4. We are moving on to the distributive property. We've done these before, but again, instead of the equal sign, we have the inequality sign. So I have 6c plus 3 times 2 minus c is greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. All right, so this 3 needs to be distributed to both the 2 and the negative c. So I have 6c plus 6 minus 3c is greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. Now I notice that I have 2 like terms on the same side, so I need to combine my like terms before I move anything from left to right. So 6 minus 3c is 3c. So I have 3c plus 6 on this side, and I have negative 2c plus 1 on this side. Now I have a variable on both sides, and we're going to solve for c. Let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is to add 2c to both sides. I'm left with 5c plus 6 is greater than or equal to 1. And now I'm going to subtract the 6 from both sides. And I get 5c is greater than or equal to negative 5. Divide both sides by 5. And because I divided by a positive 5, my answer, or my inequality symbol stays the same. And my answer is c is greater than or equal to negative 1. So this is the distributive property solving inequalities. So we are at a checkpoint. Go ahead and pause the video, solve it, and see if you can get the same answer as I do for example number 4. All right, hopefully you have solved. I am going to go ahead and do a little shortcut and show that I'm going to distribute. So I have 2x plus 12 is greater than negative 24, and a negative 3 times a negative x is a positive 3x. So I'm going to draw my line down the inequality sign. Let's see. Let's subtract 2x from both sides. Again, if this is not what you did first, hopefully our answers at the end are the same. So I have 12 left on this side is greater than negative 24, plus 1x. I'm going to add 24 to both sides. And I get 36 is greater than 1x, or just x. Again, we want the variable written first. So x is less than 36. All right, hopefully you got the same answer as I did. Example number 5 is empty sets and all reals, also known as no solution and all real numbers. If a inequality is not true, our answer is no solution or an empty set. If we get an inequality to equal the exact same number on both sides, then all real numbers would hold true. So if x is less than x, that would mean that any variable would, or any number would be, could fill in for x and we would get the same answer every time. So let's take a look at a few of these examples. This looks like a very large problem, and let's figure out what our solution is. I'm going to start by distributing here and distributing here. So I have negative 7s plus negative 28 plus 11s is greater than or equal to 8s minus 4s minus 2. Okay, now it looks like I have some similar terms on both sides that I need to combine before I move anything from left to right. So negative 7 plus 11 leaves me with just 4s minus 28 on this side, greater than or equal to 8s minus 4s leaves me with 4s on this side, minus 2. All right, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. Let's start by adding 28 to both sides. I have 4s on this side is greater than or equal to 4s plus 26. And now I'm going to subtract 4s from both sides. 4s minus 4s cancels out to be nothing. Is 0 greater than or equal to 26? It is not. So that means our answer is an empty set. You can make a big 0 with a slash through it, or you can tell me that the answer has no solution. My pen is a little glitchy today. Either one of those would be the correct answer because 0 is not greater than or equal to 26. All right, let's try another one. Little distributive property here. So I have 8r plus 6 less than or equal to 22 plus 8r minus 16. Again, I want to combine like terms on both sides before I simplify. So I have the variable and the constant is less than or equal to 22 minus 16 is 6, 8r plus 6. If you notice already, we could keep going, but I have 8r plus 6 is less than or equal to 8r plus 6. If you get the exact same thing on both sides, your answer is all real numbers. Again, it has to be the exact same thing on both sides. The answer would be all real numbers. We could substitute anything in for r to make this inequality statement true. All right, this is a checkpoint. If you want to try this one, we'll come back together and see if we can get the same thing. All right, we have another big one here. So I am going to distribute here and distribute here. This negative here, we could substitute a negative 1 in front of it. So I have 4r minus 6 minus 2r is less than 7r. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. And negative 1 times 5r is negative 5r's. So now I'm going to combine like terms on both sides before I move anything from left to right. 4r minus 2r is 2r's. Minus 6 is less than 7r's minus 5r's is 2r's minus 8. All right, I will add 6 to both sides here. And I get 2r is less than 2r minus 2. And I will subtract 2r from both sides. And again, I'm left with nothing on this side. 0 is not less than negative 2, so my answer is an empty set or no solution. Hopefully you got the same answer as I did. We are to the end of the lesson. We have another big problem here, but I am so confident that you will get the right answer. This is the open-ended question on the Google form. So take your time. Make sure you combine like terms before you move things left to right, and hopefully you will get the same answer. Thanks, and I'll see you for 5.4.